8-2. 8-2. I have no idea what happened there. 1 minute it was on, and I was like watching it, and I could see Otfo's pissing himself with laughing in the bottom. And I was like, what's going on here? And then Cole said, like, these streams gone off. And I was like, what?
I suppose the best part of it is when it got to the end of your video as well, like the Brian Clough video. It then goes to a blank screen and you're just not there. I was like, oh, what is this computer crashed or something? Is this whole internet just gone off the air or something?
I was playing peekaboo, but I forgot to actually appear. Right, anyway, guys, how you doing? Hope everyone's having a good day. This is the Man United preview with Forest. No, it's not. This is Man United preview against Forest. Oh dear, we started as we mean to go on. Giant fuck-ups everywhere. Right, anyway, guys, I searched everywhere around Manchester for fans, and I finally found one that's not on a charge. And there he is. It's Hot Fuzz. It's Hot Fuzzers. Hot Fuzz, mate. Tell us what's going on, but don't go into too much detail because I can only stream for so long.
Well, just in connectivity. Yeah, unfortunately, what happens with searching for United fans is you can't find any in Manchester. You have to come down south.
They got Mr. Rossi.
So come down south, you'll find me, and happy days, you'll find all the United fans if you search in the south. Or anywhere that isn't Manchester. But yeah, life is we're sort of a bit of disarray.
Living the dream.
Yeah, it's peak
Big up
Manchester
Jazz.
United, peak Manchester United experience. This go through a summer, we big everybody up that does all of our transfer business. It's all looking good. It's looking fantastic. We're all happy. Everyone's happy. We're all on the hype train. This hype train crashes the second we hit August, and then we walked into a brand new season completely underprepared, not the players that we need. First game, we get punched straight in the face. Thankfully, very, very thankfully and luckily, we got a win. And then we got what we deserved against Spurs. And now, third game of the season, third attempt at actually trying to play good football.
Cheers, man.
And actually be competitive. You know, it's take three. You know, we're take two on the stream, but hopefully for Manchester United's case, it's take three that they actually get it right. Third time's a charm, and they will actually play some good stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you will see how it goes. I just want to say sorry, and sorry about the stream. Sorry the way it went. My Wi-Fi, and sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry. Right, anyway, so Man United, Forest. Me personally, I would never sort of look at you guys as an easy run. I know a lot of Forest fans are saying, like, you know, we've got a chance to catch him with our pants down. I think someone's had the pants down, but that one's probably not come out in the papers yet. But you know, I mean, I don't think it will be any easy stretch. You guys at Old Trafford are nothing to laugh about, and I think you might actually sort of galvanise on the pitch because of what's gone off. What do you think?
Well, I think with the way that we've played these first two games, the only real concern that I have is the way Eric has looked at the situation. I want to take this time to apologise to absolutely fucking nobody. But yeah, basically from the first two games, we look at Eric's response to everything, and it's just like, well, we're in a situation where usually if we lose a game or we play badly, we see in like post-match comments, we say, well,
TJ.
Well, we've got a lot that we need to be working on here. Like, this isn't good. This isn't great. I want more from these guys. I want proper performances, not what we've been doing on a pitch. But that's not what we've been hearing from press conferences. Essentially, Ten Hag is saying, yeah, we've got a few areas to improve on, but, you know, I like what I see. You know, this is great. We're doing all right. You know, we're plain sailing. Even after the Spurs game, it's just like, oh, well, the first half was great. The first half. I'm like, bro, it's it's 90 minutes. You can't play first half and then call it a day. You got to do second half as well. So look, I think this. We know that
Do
obviously.
you mean out?
Take a pinch of salt with everything that Eric says in an interview or a press release or something, because he's bound to not be completely truthful. We've seen this; it's factual that the guy doesn't always speak the truth. I suppose the thing really is if it's you know, the actions would speak louder than words, and that it's that we actually come to play a proper game of football for 90 minutes, and it is a 90 minutes kind of performance, and the effort levels are through the roof compared to the first two games. I believe we can do so, because obviously with Mason Mount being out injured about 4 to 6 weeks, they reckon, what we've established is Mason Mount is a disbalancer to our midfield setup. Now, our midfield's not great. It's a little bit threadbare. It's a little bit weak defensively.
Yeah.
But what we stopped having was any element of control in midfield. So we're giving the ball away quite cheaply and not actually creating anything. So the average time spent with the ball, if we've had possession, was slightly further back because we keep losing it in transition or further up the pitch. Now, if we are starting with Ericsson next to Casemiro or Van der Beek, I mean, I don't even want to mention Scott McTominay. That guy, little bloody Milky Bar kid. But literally, even with Ericsson, it's like, cool, you haven't got the legs, you haven't got the energy there, but you've essentially got something that adds an element of control that will be vital for United to sort of keep the game away from Forest as much as possible. Because
midfield,
if we let you have
massive.
Letting you have the elements of control is going to be such a danger, because you've got a fair few players that can really hurt teams in the Premier League if they get given the chance. So it's like we need to keep the game out of your favour. And having Ericsson, I believe, will aid us in the midfield sector. But I suppose the question really is for how long before, the guy gets tired and you have to sub him off and bring somebody else on. As to who we bring on, that remains to be a question. Probably he'll end up subbing on Scott McTominay, which means we are completely finished. Otherwise, Donny van der Beek, maybe. I mean, at least he can't do a worse job than Ericsson or Scott McTominay. So for me, that would probably be the most obvious substitution to make in this game at any point. But it's.
Well, I mean, you've lost Mount now, haven't you? You've lost him for what is it? Is it 6 weeks or something?
About between 4 and 6 weeks, they reckon. That's
it
what
just gets worse, doesn't it? Really. I mean, the thing is, I mean, our best chance, in my opinion, is the wings. Basically, you've got Luke Shaw, who tends to sort of go into the midfield and do his midfield excursions. If we've got Brennan Johnson on him, his pace is electric. So if he actually does that, then there's every chance of us getting down the wing. Now, then it comes down to a cross. Whether Aurier will be playing, because he played 2 superb crosses against Sheffield United. Hopefully he's staying, but it don't look like it. He's going to Saudi Arabia. We've also got Gonzalez Montiel as well, who looks really, really good, and he's definitely going to do the crossover as well. If we can get it to a Wonyi, I think he's going to have a big season this season. Your biggest issue, I think midfield is pretty much where it's going to be won, but I think also that we will definitely sit back and try and hit you on the counter, I think, because I think you'll come out, you lost to Tottenham, so I think you're going to come out and you're going to go for it. And I think we'd be best soaking that up and then trying to hit Johnson on the break, or maybe Elanga. I could see Elanga having a good game, to be fair. I think he might have a bit of a grit between his teeth. So, I could definitely see Elanga having a good game in that respect. But like I say, I wouldn't count you guys out ever. Not Old Trafford when you've got all the crowd behind you and everything like that. I mean, if it does if you do get battered, like a lot of people are saying, which I can't see, but if you do, then that is going to be a massive like nail in the coffin, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if that's the outcome, I mean, I think a lot of people in the United fan base are saying, well, no, let's bounce back against Forest, or if they say, oh, Forest will beat us, they don't predict it to be anything close to a battering. They reckon it will be something like a few breakaway goals that you convert your chances, though they might be few and far between, but we will waste our opportunities because that's what we do. We might
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot of, like, if you look at the stat sheets, we might have an absolute ridiculous amount of shots, but when you actually look at what those chances are, it's shooting from distance, shooting through
Yeah, yeah.
loads of bodies, shooting from impossible angles, shooting without a clear sight of goal, and the execution of said shots not being good, not working the goalkeeper,
No.
and either that or just getting blocked. So we're not really creating clear cut, and that's going to be a problem. I suppose, especially if you are going to play low blocks and play quite deep.
I can't
If
see us
we've
doing
not,
anything else, to be honest.
if we don't have people playing a certain way into
Sack
which we're
call.
breaking low block. Hmm?
Yeah, he
Oh
said,
yeah,
when's the match on? So it's Saturday. Heard up, I
3 o'clock.
think I just dropped
Yeah,
my
Saturday, 3 o'clock
cigarette
kickoff.
thing.
Probably the first of many 3 o'clock kickoffs for United's case because we're not entertained to watch. But yeah, it's one of those things where if we're playing against this low block, we just don't have the sort of people that actually play well against low block teams, because it's usually we're playing in transition, or we win the ball back in any situation and then we play it quick, we play it very direct, and from the turnovers of possession that we'll tend to create big chances, and probably our best chances. And that's not going to be an easy feat. I suppose it's kind of the thing when we played you
Yeah.
last season.
All good. Cheers, mate. Cheers, buddy.
Catch you later, Jez. I suppose, yeah. I mean, Nottingham Forest. Every time we played you last season, I know it's been 2-0
You
and
had our
3-0.
number every time, didn't you?
Yeah, like, what was it? Like 10 goals scored, I think it was, and 0 goals conceded. But it's like, in performance wise, we didn't look like we were like tearing you apart at any point or dominating you. It was just a few good well taken chances here and there.
Just a few really good moves with Rashford. Rashford's probably my biggest worry, to be honest, because he tends to really turn up against us.
Yeah, I
mean, Wegger scored against us, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think that was like probably one of his only goals that he's actually scored a United shirt as well. Like, it was against Nottingham
goal and all.
Yeah, but
cracking goal.
Yeah, for me, Rashford in this game, because the first 2 games Rashford has played as the striker, and we've seen that he's not
Nah, he's got to play off the left.
So yeah, I think especially from what he said previously, I think he's admitted himself. Look, I want to be playing from the left. That's where I feel like I'm most comfortable, where I feel I can do my best stuff. Is off the left, and a lot of his goal contributions, I think pretty much most of them, if not all of them, came from starting in the left wing position or playing around that area of the pitch, because usually he cuts inside to take the shot. And obviously being right-footed as well, usually that's just kind of the thing with the modern day winger. Use your opposite foot, keep cutting inside and all of that jazz. But
yeah, Rashford, it works. So why not?
Yeah, and I think Rashford, because it might be a case that before we get more players in to actually improve the situation everywhere else with this team, is that we might have to rely on a carry performance. And I think if we want to do that, we have to have probably the best or most likely goal scorers playing in ideal positions, and essentially putting a lot of what we do through them. And I mean, Rashford, as much as he being a top goal scorer last season, I suppose the thing is that you score consistently, but one goal here, one goal there. It's like I'd like to see Rashford getting braces or hat tricks, so looking like he's got that continuous threat instead of maybe getting one goal here and a goal there, or
Yeah.
1 goal each consecutive game, and that's kind of it. You don't really see him push on more from there. So I suppose there's that side of goal scoring Rashford that he can work on to actually lighten the load or pressure on the front line. As for everybody else, I think Martial maybe starts up top, and maybe Sancho plays on the
He'll
right.
be on for like 2 minutes then.
Like he'll probably be
Get
walking out.
injured again.
He'll probably walk out the tunnel where you got in the corner of Old Trafford pitch is a little slant. He'll probably slip, bang his knee, and that's it. Season over. You'll see it. You have to back an ambulance up into the stadium entranceway just out back there. But yeah, not great. And the fact is that Højlund supposedly is not going to be playing. I mean, we've got 6 players on our injury list that won't be able to feature. Manchester United against Nottingham Forest, and to be honest, only one of them's played this season. Only one of them has played, and they're on the injury list. But that's Mason Mount. But
you've got our away form as well. I mean, it's not great. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we did all right against Arsenal in the second half, but Arsenal took their foot off the gas at the end of the day. So it'd be interesting for us to actually see how we do perform in this game. I mean, for me, if a 1 year can sort of get into the middle of you lot, then I think he can do something. He looks like one of them strikers that's really going to push on this season. With Brennan Johnson, I don't know whether he's going to be going or not. I mean, I'm hearing that Spurs are about to put 50 million on it. I mean, I was in the Spurs chat room the other day, and I said, give us 50 million and add-ons, and you can take him. And they was like, he's not worth 50 million. I says, I don't give a shit what he's worth. Just pay it. That's what we're asking. So just pay it. But they're not that keen on that, and Chelsea's not that keen on that. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. He's a good player with a lot of potential. But the problem with Johnson at the minute is his decisions when when he runs all the way down the pitch. His decisions, he'll try and take a shot that's silly or something like that instead of actually. He did start crossing it into the box more at the end of last season. So I mean, we've also just put another bid in for that Sangari, 21.3 million or something. But I mean, that was off a site that I don't know if you can take any credence from that or not. I mean, I would love to get Sangari, to be honest with you. That'd be a major one for us, and I think we will get more. Do you think? Do you think you're going to make any more signings? I think Amrabat. I've heard Amrabat's already done, but you've got to sell players before he can come in or something. Is that real or what?
That's what I've been speculating on my shows. Is this whole sell to buy thing just a ploy to try and see out the rest of the window by not spending money? Just probably testing the waters to see what fan reaction is. By saying, we've got to sell XYZ players to fund these transfers and all of this.
I don't get that, to be honest.
And a part of me is just like, well, that kind of doesn't make any sense, because then the stories come out to say, well, we're deciding whether we want to sign players without selling or before selling. Well, no. Yeah, so sign players before selling, or we sell somebody first to then buy the players. Right, so that report would say that you've outed yourself. Because you saying, oh, we're contemplating whether to do it before selling. That means that you can sign players now, because otherwise that wouldn't be on the table. That wouldn't be.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me, mate. Because at the end of the day, you need recruitment. It don't matter whether you sell or not. If you don't get recruitment, then you're in for a really, really tough season. You can see it already. So I don't understand this. You ain't got time to go, oh, we've got to get rid of McTominay and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think you have the time to do that. You've got to start pulling these players in now. And I mean, where do you think you need? I mean, because I'd say striker with that Rasmus
need 4
Højlund.
signings. We need 4.
Yeah.
Just to make this season even remotely sufficeable. Like, we need another centre-back to kick Maguire out of this club on his arse. We need 2 midfielders, because just signing one, what happens when the injuries come and you need to rotate and use your depth? Who's the other player? Then you need a striker. Rasmus Højlund is injured and we can't play him consistently at the start of the season. Otherwise, we'll end up just aggravating an injury problem at this club right now.
Sorry, that's a crazy signing for someone like Man United. The medical team didn't do the business beforehand. It's madness, absolute madness. Did they even do a medical on him or what? How did they not find that?
What's interesting? Well, I suppose with the medicals, it's a bit surprising that he, it's a bit surprising that he didn't like fail his medical at all. Or you like how West Ham sent people to to look into the medical records for Maguire and McTominay just to sort of see what's going on there, because these guys probably haven't played as many minutes the previous season, so probably a feasible thing to do. I mean, I'm surprised that not more checks were done prior to that. Like,
it don't make sense.
How fit are these players really? Because if someone is out from action with a precaution or something, or an injury sustained from previous times, you should have seen that.
That's bad though, isn't it? What has come up from that after you've signed him is that's pretty bad. That should have been something that was noticed or something with the medical team that you've got and everything like that. That really, really should have. I mean, how do you hide that? I mean, come on. I mean, it just makes no sense. It sort of seems like, we've got to get this guy in. Forget the medical, just get him in.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like to me. It's crazy, man. 65 million and all that it could be.
It's like the most expensive version of what was it, Kim Kallstrom signing for Arsenal. That literally, second he arrived, had like this insane injury that kept him out for like an entire year. It was like, wow, so much for that. It's just like,
it's a nightmare, isn't it? Because the way that they do things now as well, because managers ain't what they used to be. They don't, managers, they used to just get 11 players and then turn them into a team. Now it's like, I've got to have this kind of player for here. That, you know what I mean? So any injuries is absolutely detrimental now if it happens, because it just screws your whole formation, tactics, and everything up. It's bad.
It takes me back to this whole thing. It's like, I bet you anything that this club don't feel this way when we as fans look back in hindsight and say our first signing, the marquee signing, the one that was going to take us forward next season, was put on the pedestal, was Mason Mount.
Yeah, I know. That's a weird one, isn't it?
Mason Mount, right, the pinnacle of the summer transfer window in accordance to this club, right, the star signing. We don't know what we're doing with them. How does this work? Like, someone should be sacked. Probably shot 100%. Dead for that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you like it? Like, let's take money out of it. The practicality of it on its own. It's like, even if you spend 10 million on a player and you're just like, okay, well, now he's here. You just go train over there. Like, we haven't decided what we want to do with you yet. And it's like,
that makes no sense at all. That's just stupid, isn't it, really?
I suppose it's in the same category as Kai Havertz, where no one really knows what his role in the Arsenal team is. But it's just going to be the case where it's like, well, I guess we'll just find out as we go along, right? It's like, well, you can't really.
You know what, though, mate? I think he was misunderstood at Chelsea, and they didn't know how to get the best of him. A bit same as the Havertz story.
Well, I suppose with well, that's the thing with Mason Mount. You sort of saw what he was going to be.
I've never seen anything in him, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he didn't look. he didn't look like anything special at Derby County. He comes into
No.
Frank Lampard's first stint in charge of Chelsea, right, where he got given that transfer ban. So he basically had to use, like, half of his team were like kids and all of that. Well, they were
And
kids
he
at the
gets the
time.
number 7 as well. Well said.
PR move, by the way. PR move, literally
mm.
the same. Apparently, Lee Gunn hit the nail on the head. Part of a PR agency that there's a load of players that are like suspect shit going on, like not scandalous shit, but things where you're just like, why, just why, all under the same umbrella. But yeah, essentially,
that's just what I was thinking now as well. Nketiah with the number 14, I can't banter. I was just thinking that, at least you didn't give him the number of Thierry Henry.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Well, I'll tell you what, with Mason Mount, it's like there's not a lot of people. I suppose it's like the Rashford syndrome with Mason Mount and Chelsea fans, like what we've got with United fans, because he's our star boy. You could almost say it's kind of a similar syndrome with Mason Greenwood as well. It's like the amount of people that are just like, oh, screw human rights, right? Screw what everyone else thinks. I want my star boy back. Yeah. It's like the guy could blow up a hospital. Oh, he's still my star boy. Like, but he's just, hello, irrespective of what he's done. Right, okay, cool. You
Tony's right. All Chelsea rejects are misunderstood.
Wow.
I can see like Arsenal ending up with. I can see Arsenal giving Lukaku a retirement home for like 200 million.
Yeah.
He was misunderstood at Chelsea. We can get the best out of him.
Well, it's like the argument that people say, isn't it, with Lukaku? Oh, well,
what would you 1987?
What would you rather do? Have no strikers or have Romelu Lukaku who can at least like do this and do that? I'm like,
he's lazy, man.
But it's like you could have a player, right, that actually puts in effort, puts in a shift. He might not be your star striker, but he's someone who puts in a shift, like Nicholas Jackson. I would much like Nicholas Jackson, head and shoulders above Romelu Lukaku. Because
you'll never get near him.
If you
they only give the crap.
If you make space in your team for someone who doesn't return that commitment, that same sort of output to your teammates, it's like I saw a clip today with Thierry Henry. It's just like, well, I might get supplied with X, Y, Z, and I might be frustrated. I'm a kind of frustrated figure. Arsene Wenger knows this. Like, I complained a lot. But then it's like, well, go and look at what it is that all of these other teammates around you do and compensate little areas of your game to get the best out of those players and show them for their star qualities and not compensate everyone with a weakness. It's like Lukaku. Basically, goal hangs. Like man's slow on acceleration, but man's got pace to burn. Like he's ridiculously quick, and no one really sees it.
He's annoying,
he's
mate.
So immobile.
He's probably one of the most annoying strikers I've ever seen because you can see he's got the physique, he's got the pace, he's got everything apart from the fact that he is an absolute lazy bastard. I've watched him so many times and it's like, move, man, get into the right areas, stuff like that. Don't just expect everything to come to you. I mean, Collymore used to do that, to be fair. But to be fair, when you gave the ball to Collymore, he did actually do the damage.
Yeah. So a bit like Everton version of Romelu Lukaku. That guy was sick. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I love this Romelu Lukaku in my team because the guy had it all. And he looked like he was that really bullish striker. You saw his pace. You saw how direct he was. And cool, he might miss some sitters from time to time.
That's funny from Jaminho.
Even after the Anthony incident, he still can't finish either in bed or on the pitch. Or essentially a bit too far. I'm surprised. Well, I mean, I was about to say a joke, but I'll probably actually get this channel cancelled if I say that.
Mate, it's not anywhere anyway, so don't worry about it being cancelled. That's all good.
Wow. Even so, it's probably a bit tasteless.
Well, I mean, if they do the stuff, then people are going to talk about it, and people are going to joke about it and laugh about it, aren't they? It's the way it goes. If you do the crime, you got to do the time. So if you're going to do these things, then I mean, I personally think he's a shit footballer. I don't think he shouldn't be. He should have been on charges for saying he's a footballer for me, because he's just. I honestly just don't see anything with him at all. Not
Someone
anything at all.
someone needs to drive down
You're
to
welcome, Arsenal, since 1987.
someone needs to drive down to northeast London and go and arrest Edson Alvarez then, because that guy came out with a quote saying that the best ever player, technically, that he's ever played with in his life was Anthony.
Oh, wow. Right, okay. Put him in
I th-
the next cell then.
I'll tell you what, if Early Doors is watching,
Depends what he
somewhere,
means by playing with him.
it's technically gifted, not the way that you think. Oh shit! Whoa, whoa. That's whoa. What stays in Amsterdam? What happens in Amsterdam stays in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Listen,
mate,
look,
definitely.
you might have taken a wrong turn. Like the team bus might have taken the wrong turn and ended up somewhere in the red light district instead of at the Ajax Amsterdam arena. You never know. Might have taken a bit of the detour, but
right, so Oregon Goon says he'd take Lukaku over Kai and Eddie. To be honest, I mean, I'd take most players over Kai and Eddie, to be fair. I mean, even though that's probably,
that is probably one of the very, very, very few exceptions. The very, very few exceptions. Yeah, it's like I definitely take Balogun over Eddie Nketiah. It's just like
I'd take my dead cat over the two of them. Yeah, mate, I agree. Totally. Your dead cat's probably got more life in it.
Oh dear.
Oh my days. So is Rasmus going to play on Saturday then? I've heard he might play for a bit.
Wow. According to Neil Custis, the same guy that apparently says the takeover's done, is saying that MUFC are hopeful that Rasmus Højlund will be available on the bench for Saturday's game versus Nottingham Forest. They're hopeful.
Right.
But I wouldn't trust these people with hope as far as I could throw them. It's like if they were part of the plot line in Star Wars A New Hope, the movie would have started 5 seconds in and it would have ended credits. It would have rolled end credits. There's no hope. There really is. It's pointless. It's not even just the fact that we're all hoping for Rasmus Højlund to come back as well. It's like the amount of expectation we're setting on this guy who's not proven, has not played a minute of Premier League football. Usually we say, there's this striker coming in from this other league, will they adapt to the Premier League? How many goals will they score? It's like I see this striker, his goal contributions and all of the other age profiles or anything like that. I'm like, he could have some good qualities here, but his recent history is not great. He hasn't put up great numbers in an easier league in an attacking team like Atalanta. Take us back to the COVID times. Atalanta were playing some of the most insane attacking football that I'd ever seen an Italian team play. But it's the same style of football that they're playing. Obviously, a little bit different because times are changing. But Rasmus Højlund, it's like for a striker that's not proven, that's not great. Everyone's like, "Oh, please come back, please score all of our goals, please get hat tricks and everything." We're like, why are we pinning all the hopes and dreams of our season on a guy that's not proven?
Crazy, isn't it? It's not like Man United, is it? Really?
So if he plays against Nottingham Forest, he probably misses the Arsenal game because he just wouldn't be medically cleared to then play that next game. You'd have to take an extensive period of time before he can then be fit enough to play then the next game without aggravating a stress fracture.
Which makes absolute sense. I mean, you'd rather have him for the Arsenal game than you would for our game, wouldn't you, really? But, I mean, if he's on the bench, and you're doing all right,
Yeah,
then you don't have to use him anyway, I suppose. But it's good to
no,
actually have him on there just in case. Because I
yeah.
mean, I don't. I mean, as much as a lot of Forest fans are saying, they're on the floor at the moment, we can wallop them. We don't wallop anybody. We don't.
Neither do
We
we.
don't score that many goals. We don't. It's normally 1-0 wins and things like that, and then we defend well, and just low block it, and
Mm,
just like it on the counter. So I don't think we're walloping anybody, especially not at home anyway.
no, it's
I mean, away. I mean,
well, even for us at home, we don't wallop anybody either. It's like the most amount of goals we probably scored in a game last season was probably Real Betis. We put 5 past them. Was it
currently
5? No, it's
jumping
4.
between your stream and
I think it was
Jess,
4.
Master Light. That's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I think it was 4. 4 goals we put past them.
Mm,
So we're not that we're not that good. Even when we play well or well enough to like score lots of chances, and a lot of times we're sat here saying, "How have we not scored more? How have we not scored more?"
mm,
That's the thing is when we score like when we have a stupid amount of chances, we still only score like 2 to 3 goals. So it's like, well,
yeah,
because of how unclinical we are, it's like if we are limited with chances, we've got no backing or faith that we're going to actually score the goals we need to in the big moments of
yeah,
game.
which is weird for United, really. I mean,
Yeah,
watching it as like an outsider neutral and all that, and watching United over the times and stuff like that. I mean, Basuma
mm,
absolutely owned your midfield the other day. I mean, it's the best game I've seen him have for ages. Whether that's down to you guys not being up to it or whatever, I don't know. But he was immense the other day.
I mean
Absolutely immense.
Roy Keane was right about our performance as well against Spurs. Is that United are easy to play against? We're
Mm,
very easy, so easy, and it's honestly it's quite baffling the amount of times we had even had last season where we should have conceded way more goals than we actually did. It's like Newcastle away, that was a 2-0 loss away from home. That
yeah.
score should have been like Tottenham Hotspur away to Newcastle. It should have been like that, but it wasn't.
Mm,
We were so bloody lucky. And we played, right, Scott McTominay in number 10, right, and Weghorst in front of him. That was the front two that we played that
mm.
game. That's ridiculous.
Do,
That
do
is
you think? Do you
unbelievable.
think he's got the players? Not.
No,
I don't mean as in that he's got the personnel. I mean, has he got the players' minds? Has he actually
oh,
got? Are they with him? Because I mean, I'm not being funny, but Bruno to me just I don't rate the guy. I'll be honest. I think if he did as many good things on the pitch as he does moaning and whinging, then he'd probably be right up there. But for me, he's such a whinger, and that to me is not a captain. A captain galvanizes everybody, not whinges and moans at them and annoys them to hell.
I suppose that's the thing is that, pick your poison. You can either have Mr. Silent Harry Maguire, point fingers, don't take accountability and hide from the media captain,
Mm.
which isn't captain. He
Well, he
literally
was he
commands
was even
disrespect.
worse. He was
Like
terrible.
the guy just commanded disrespect. It's like you either have that
Mm.
or you have someone who is at least vocal. I mean, yeah, he whinges a lot, right?
Mm.
I mean, we've seen it before where the players just tell Bruno, shut up and get on with it. Like with
Yeah.
Sancho, one of the other games, just tells Bruno, like, just, no, man, shut up. And then
Mm.
what happened straight afterwards? I think he went on to score a goal or something, or we went on to win
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
game from that moment. But it's like, with captaincies, it's like we've got players in this team that mentally have left Manchester United. They left a
Mm.
while ago, a long while ago. They're collecting paychecks. That is it. And the
Yeah. I think
problem that we've got
that's another bad
is
thing,
that
isn't it?
Eric Ten Hag, if he knew that he has the full backing of a board that's competent, he would have moved that many more people on the season. And he would have
Oh yeah, I
replaced
agree.
them with people
Yeah,
who
I
do
agree.
want to be here, who do want to
Mm.
give 110%. And because when you have more people that are pulling their weight, if anybody
Mm.
else is feeling a little bit laggish, they start pulling their weight as well because they're the minority. But it's like
Mm,
if you look around your dressing room, you see a lot of people just like everyone else. You can start feeling like. But if you've got loads
mm,
of people that are just properly like giving it 110% every game, you think, all right, well, I've got to get up to speed then. I've got to get up to these guys' levels. Otherwise, I'm going to be next on the chopping block and
yeah,
kicked
yeah.
out. And then I can't sit here and say, oh, well, I could have been part of that success. Look at them now. Like, no, they'll bring someone else in who will then be the reason that your replacement will be the reason that this team becomes successful.
Mm.
And you are the reason that this team wasn't. Like a
With
lot of people.
good owners in place, do you think that this would have gone a hell of a lot different? Do you
Yeah,
think you'd have had a different looking team now
yeah,
if you had good owners in place who was going to put the money over and
yeah,
and Ten Hag was able to spend it and all this that and the other?
yeah.
I think you'd be a totally different monster now. And it's so
Well,
sad because it's like over the last 6 years or whatever, you guys have been so mediocre.
mm,
Even though you won that Carling Cup, you as a Man United team, you've been so mediocre. And I don't think a lot of people are used to that because,
yeah,
I mean, let's face it, in this country, you're the biggest team in the cup in the cup. You're the biggest team in the wherever it is in the
in the
world
country.
in the country. I mean, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, right, is if we had Qatari ownership, the very
Mm,
first thing that would have happened this summer transfer window is there'll be no reports coming out about financial fair play. There'll be
mm,
no reports coming out about sell to buy. This has consistently been proven during this transfer window under this mediocre ownership that they are not tied by FFP. They are not tied by a sell to buy policy. They're not.
yeah, yeah.
If they were, we would have seen a very different approach. The sales would have happened first and more urgently, as opposed to let's buy 3 players before we consider selling anybody from the first team.
Mm,
That wouldn't have happened. So
no,
we've spent 180 million on 3 players, right, to be first team, like whatever. We overpaid for probably 2, maybe all 3 of them. We've probably
yeah, yeah.
overpaid it to some extent. So we've established that this board doesn't want to take accountability. They don't want to have all the hard work to do because they know they can't do it, right? So they want to lower their expectations so that their failure is sort of seen as a bit more like oh, don't worry, pat on the backs for you. You
Mm,
tried, you were fighting against the elements instead of, well, actually, we want to sell 10 players and buy 10 players. Ralph Rangnick said that and he got chucked out the club.
mm.
He got chucked out the club, not because
Oh
of,
yeah,
say, the
he had
comment.
the right idea, but the
Well, yeah,
I think at the end of the day, it can't be looked at as anything else than the Glazers. And I can
mm,
remember when the Glazers were taking over, and a lot of your fans, if you remember, ran onto the pitch after the game and was saying we don't want the Glazers and all this, that, and the other. But unfortunately,
mm,
you didn't have a togetherness with everybody, so not everybody felt that way. But
mm,
they could see exactly what was coming. They could see
yeah,
exactly what was coming with United. And I think that is one of the biggest issues. Like you say, Ranić came in and he knew straight away, like, you need this amount of players. And I'm just gonna say it's a real shame to see United in this kind of scenario, growing up with them and all that kind of stuff. Because I mean, I've always enjoyed watching Man United and things like that. But I
yeah,
mean, it's like us last season. We signed 30 players,
yeah,
yeah, but they were 30 players that we needed,
mm,
and 30 play. You know what I mean? It weren't a Mason Mount in the midfield and all that kind of stuff. Because I think
no,
more than that, you needed somebody who would actually a CDM.
yeah,
CDM was first for me
yeah.
all day long.
I mean, it's like the first summer that Ten Hag was in charge. Um, we spent literally the like 90% of the summer chasing a player that didn't want to come. But
Oh, that
I
De
think
Jong thing.
Yeah, it's like
That was
when you
ridiculous.
look back on it, and it's just like well, we want to do this in a priority, so we won't sign
Mm,
anybody else until we sort out this priority signing.
mm.
We signed Malacia, Ericsson on the side, and then
Malacia looked
Martinez.
all right.
Um, yeah, I mean he's he's not playing a system where he's
You've made a lot of
incorporated.
bad ones, though, haven't you? Really, I mean, you got
Yeah,
Sanchez, which took ages to actually get him, and he's not really done any great shakes. You got Anthony, who's not really
mm.
done any great shakes. You know, you have signed a lot of players that just, I
Well,
mean, and then to get whatever his name is,
I mean
Woot
they
Waghorst or whatever. You know, I mean, that was just to me, it's like the icing on the cake. Man United having someone like Wout Weghorst, or I have no idea how to say his name. Wout Shithead. I'll just
mm,
call him Wout Shithead. But you know, I mean, he only scored an amazing goal against us, which is nothing that difficult to do because most people was doing it. But yeah, I mean, it's just absolute madness, really. And Alex Ferguson, he's just because he's behind it. He's shareholder or something, isn't he?
ambassador, I think.
How is
Like
he not kicking off? He not
well,
bothered anymore.
well, he was around with the when the Glazers were coming in,
Mm.
and he was actually like he was speaking to these Glazers before they took over.
Yeah, he was
Like
playing.
he
Yeah,
was
he
a
was
part of the
promoting it, wasn't
reason
he?
that
Yeah,
the Glazers took over. Like
yeah.
Ferguson, essentially, as much as he gave us, this era of dominance and made us the
Mm.
most successful or biggest club in the country, he ultimately sealed our fate and doomed
Yeah, yeah.
us
I
once
know.
he, with his expertise and you know the at sort of playing level or player level or recruitments and coaches and all of that stuff. Like
Mm.
that was where his genius was. But as far as going above and beyond that,
Yeah,
probably didn't
yeah.
have the best taste in people who would have taken this club and actually
Mm.
probably like if we had even better ownerships, maybe we would be sat here with at Sir Alex Ferguson having won say 6, 7, even 8 Champions Leagues.
Clough would have never done that. Clough
Mm,
would have never done that. I can't imagine a time where Clough would have done that. But I mean, getting on to this as well. I mean, I know we was in the championship, but back then we had that Fawaz owner.
mm,
And as soon as I heard his first speech, it was like when you sign new players and they go, "Oh, I love Nottingham Forest. I've always loved them, and you know they're a great team and a big team and all this crap." I hate hearing it. It drives me up the fucking wall. Just shut up, get
mm,
the shirt on, and show me what you can do. And it's like Fawaz did exactly the same thing. Oh, I've followed Forest history, all this, that, and the other. Straight away, I said, this guy ain't got a clue. He's not interested. He just all he's interested in is trying to be the big man and make something out of himself and all this, that, and the other. And it proved out to be right. And I got kicked out of so many Forest groups for being negative about him. And it's
mm.
like, well, at the end of the day, I was right. I knew what I was saying. I mean, we had a manager that very nearly got us promoted, got us into the top 3 or top 4, I think it was, and then he just sacked him.
Let your apologies be as loud as your criticism.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. You know what I mean? It's like it's ridiculous. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, now we've got Marianakis, which seems to be, you know, doing the right kind of stuff, and I do think we'll sign like another 2, 3, maybe 4 players. You
mm,
know, I really do. And hopefully we'll sort of move on from that. But I still don't see us as a team that's going to go to Old Trafford and like play you off the park. Let's say I
mm.
still see us as a team that's going to like soak up the pressure and then try and get on the break and like release Brennan Johnson and try and get a one in. I think that's the way it's going to go.
Mm. It's probably going to be um, the most commonly predicted sort of approach to the game,
Mm-hmm.
respective of both teams. I think obviously Forest soak up pressure, hit on the counter, probably try and do what I said previously with switching the play a bit more when you sort of get not like close to the box, but rather, well, I say close to the box, you could do crosses to the far post because usually from set pieces, Wan-Bissaka doesn't track far post runners.
Yeah, you
I
see,
think
that's another
Luke
thing.
Shaw sort of does, but sometimes he gets caught out positionally.
He does. That's where I think we have the chance.
Yeah, and I
Luke Shaw getting out of position and us dropping it over to Brennan Johnson. I mean, he might even start. He might even start the game with Alanga and Johnson on both wings, so he can try and take on both wings. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. I can't imagine it. I think he'll go exactly the same way as he always does with
mate,
Morgan Gibbs White and Morgan Gibbs White. Everybody that was saying like, "Oh, 34 million, that's a joke that you're paying that for him." It ain't been no joke, mate. It ain't been no joke. He's a cracking player.
there's one element to this game that I'm say nervous about, and that is Anthony Alanga. If that guy has an insane performance or even a great performance,
I can see it as well.
I probably will have to log off for the rest of the year. The guy that couldn't make it in the United team,
Yeah,
I
I
said,
know.
look, he's got some good qualities to him, but he's just not at this right level. His next visit to Old Trafford, he rips us a new one. Like,
Oh, it would be
Christ almighty.
embarrassing. 15 million as well.
Wow, I mean, Christ, we sold Emeran this afternoon to Groningen in
Yeah.
the Netherlands for 850,000.
Oh my days.
I'm like, bro, we are cool. Like, we see these guys on pre-season tour and all of that, and it's like, of course, Ten Hag has got the policy for his youth that if you are legitimately good, like proper good, that's when you'll get into this team. But if you're not like proven, you don't show or have the qualities to go up to this level, then you'll be out.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
I suppose
100%.
it's like what we've seen with Zidane Iqbal, with Tahith Chong, um, guys like that, who a lot of people in this fan base for some reason just go raving mad about. It's probably the same people in the Arsenal fan base that rave mad about Eddie Nketiah. It's just like, oh, he
Yeah,
come through
yeah.
our academy, so we got the academy bias, and it's like,
Yeah, you always get that academy love thing, don't you? With
it's
fans and players.
whatever, bro.
I mean, it's like I was having a set to with a Forest guy on that Forest forum today.
Hmm.
I was saying that we need better than Worrell and McKenna because they're making mistakes, and he's going, "Oh well, they played really good against Sheffield United." And I says, "Did you not see when they both went for the same ball and it bounced off one of them's back?" And then went to the striker and he got a shot on goal. And it was only if it weren't for Turner saving the 1-on-1, then we could have we could have lost that game. So
I'm
and
sorry, but
it's like Worrells is an academy graduate and all this and the other, but he just don't seem to be cutting it for me.
so like what you said there. Oh, but Worrell, he had a good performance against Sheffield United, and like, but you're not playing Sheffield United every week, mate.
Exactly.
It's like McKenna as well. You're not playing those sorts of teams every week. It's like I'd trust Jadon Sancho playing false nine against Joe Worrell because the guy's not strong. He's not going to hold up play, but he could sit you on your ass a few times because he can do that. He's explosive with pace. He's not fast in a straight line, but if the guy can switch direction like that, any defender that is not like on it here and got the street wise about him. I think Joe Wall's not got that element to him.
He makes some crazy mistakes. Like for instance, right, that Carling Cup game where Rashford scored that goal.
Yeah,
Now
just
I don't care
completely
what anyone says. If it's not, if Freuler's not on and it's Yates going up against the back of him, he's getting taken down. He ain't getting in the box. And Worrell was like running with him at the side of him. You don't do that. And he's like, you just don't. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a good defender. He's good. Again, he's got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes good, but the fact of the matter is our main defence is going to be Philippe and Niakate. And Niakate's got that amazing throw that's like a corner. It's just, I mean, it foxed everybody last season. Every
Yeah.
team we played, there was like, oh my days, you know what I mean? Because it just
Yeah.
goes straight into the box.
You don't usually deal with that area of the pitch from a
No,
throw-in.
no,
Yeah, you
no.
don't usually do that. You've got a shape, and it's like if you're a
Crazy,
throw,
man.
it's like you could
Always
almost
causes issues.
if the throw's long enough and you take it quick enough, usually where the teams are averagely positioned much closer to your byline, if you throw it hard enough and far enough, you could use that as like a switch of the play there.
Yeah, 100%.
Throw it really far into
Yeah.
space and have someone running from a blind
Mm.
spot or from distance. So it's like there's so many things you can legitimately do
But I mean,
from a long
that's another
throw-in.
thing with the top teams, though, like United. I mean, we've picked up some gems
Mm.
for really cheap prices. No, the thing is about top teams, they want these 100 millions and these 80 million pound players because it makes a difference. But I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's like, oh, you can't get any world class players unless you're in the Champions League. We just picked up Montiel, who won a World Cup for Argentina.
Europa League with Sevilla as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was he with Sevilla? Yeah.
I mean,
No,
come
was
on. I mean,
yeah, it
you know,
was.
how can we pick them up without being in the Champions League and being, you know, a possible relegation fighting team? Yet these big clubs can't. It's because they're after that. I think they're just after that big priced player to go, oh, look at us, look at what we're signing, and all this, that, and the other. And it's being proven that it's not working out. Havertz, 65 million. I mean, I can give you 65 million worth of players that we got, yeah, that have done far more than he has.
There's a lot more squads out there that are built up of a team that's worth less than 65 million, and each and every single player is better than a 65 million pound player.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it's like with the club policies of old under Ed Woodward with Manchester United's recruitment strategy. We prioritized shirt sellers. We did not care
Yeah,
about whether the guy fits,
yeah,
whether the
that's the
guy
point. That's the
wanted
point I
to
was
come.
making. Yeah,
It's like we signed players that didn't even want to come. It's like Angel Di Maria didn't want to come. Like
yeah,
the second he got here, his girlfriend started moaning,
yeah.
and it's just like, yeah, no, get me out of here. It's like we had our priorities completely in the wrong place, and the recruitment strategy for a while is like Paul Pogba, bringing him back. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, I love him, he's a real baller. I'm like, but look at the policy that signed him. Mourinho had troubles with him very, very quickly. Does Mourinho want someone who is going to run into troubles
Yeah,
with, or
that's
does he
it,
want
innit? Yeah.
someone who walks in, first meeting with the manager, I'm going to lay my body on the line for you?
Yeah, of course.
Paul
Well,
Pogba would
you
never
want
have
them
done that.
players, don't you?
And it's like
You want them players.
those players usually come with the transfer fees of today of about, say, like the 10, 15, 20, 30 millions. These guys we're signing were the 80, 90 millions. Usually you say, well, you built up a team of Galacticos of like superstars that have known their roots, where they've come from. They've built their legacies up over time. You bring a superstar in to say, well, your qualities at this level complement everybody else here,
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than I'm going to build a random mishmash. It's like making a match attacks kind of team. It's like, get out the match attacks, people. Wipe them superstars all over the carpet, and it's just play around. It's like FIFA Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
Go and spend stupid money on a player and then start doing rainbow flicks and roulettes with a guy that turns like a cow in a field. I mean,
Yeah.
like playing a star Petr Cech in striker position, and he's your most clinical player. Like it's like our transfer policies were so backwards. It was no wonder that we were going to go backwards over time. It's like you sign all of these players, lots of money spent. You say, oh, United, they look at all the money they spend. Why is everyone complaining? I'm like, but look at how badly it's spent. Look, all the players that we spent all of this money, about 10% of all of that £1 billion we spent on transfers are players that 10% of that are players that are actually still here.
Yeah.
The other 90% have already gone because they didn't work.
No.
So it's like if you spend $1
What
billion,
do you want? What do you want in a player? Because I just want hard-working players that are going to fight for the shirt. Just give me a second. I'm going to get a beer, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, exactly. The players that I would want to see for United, it's like when people in United fan bases, right, say, "Oh, I'd love to have all of these like lesser known signings." You know, these players that are sort of a bit more unknown. You know, sign them for the cheaper pickup fees and all of that, and you fill them into these pocket spaces because they're not here for a payday. They're not here for a vacation or anything. They're here because they love to get their elbows dirty. They love to get stuck in. They love to, you know, do everything on the pitch. Hello, that's just my mother. She's come back from work.
Hello, mother.
But yeah, I don't want to have the prima donnas. It's like when people say, "Oh, would you sign Neymar?" It's just like, if we were winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, I'd take him in a heartbeat. I would. But right now, you think Neymar's going to come in and we're going to be all of a sudden it's going to be hunky dory?
Nah,
No
bigger problem that
chance.
would be.
No chance. The guy's going to get so political that it's going to turn Old Trafford into the world's biggest House of Commons.
He ain't going to be happy, mate. He ain't going to be happy losing
No.
2-0 to Tottenham.
Mate, he won't be happy with the way Carrington is. He'd probably have a plate of fish and chips, and it's just like, fuck this, I hate this, and that's enough. His mind's already left Manchester. It's just like you haven't got a team. It's like Manchester City. They're in a position where you can go sign a player like Neymar because they're already they're in their pomp. They're doing it at the moment. Neymar comes in and he complements that. And he has the superstar element, and that's when you say, "Oh, Manchester City come to town." It's like, "Oh, they've got a fantastic team."
He's the biggest cheating bastard though on the planet.
I mean, yeah,
that's why, you know, when people say to me, like, you know, when people say like, "Oh, you know, Neymar's the best Brazilian ever born," and all this, that, and the other, get out of my fucking face! Did you not see like Pele and Zico and all that kind of, and all those players? You know, they didn't fall down every 5 minutes trying to get fouls and things like that. They was proper skillful players. I mean, he is skillful. Don't get me wrong, but he chooses to drop instead.
Yeah, I like to think of Ronaldinho. It's like you never really saw him die for anything because he wouldn't have the ball in a situation where it's like, "Oh, but I might lose it here." He's like, "Mate, I'm just going to make you look like an absolute wet wipe," and he just takes you. He takes you for a walk. He makes you his bitch for 90 minutes.
Oh yeah, exactly.
100%. I mean, Christ Almighty, it's like Neymar at Santos. I could say, this guy's got some serious stuff because, like, you look at the skills compilations there, like, and people will say, "But that's Brazilian," but it's like, but he's still on the up and coming part of his career. He's still learning his trade at that point, and he's making that many people look like clowns. Comes to Barcelona, where European football's going to a different place. It's all much more technical. Or system based. It's all tactics, shapes. All start landing airplanes all over Europe and all of that. It's like if games were simple and it wasn't all about tactics and all of this and that, players wouldn't be having as much of their natural raw ability being coached out of them.
Which is a shame, mate. Because I mean, at the end of the day, football's not a difficult game. You have 11 against 11. And to me, it don't matter how good another team is. If it's down to that mentality of wanting it more than the opposition. It's same as our game against Arsenal at the end of the season. We wanted it more, and you could see we wanted it more. They down tools or whatever. I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, they can say we down tools, so it was easier. I don't give a shit, mate. It was 3 points, and it kept us up in the league. So we'll play whatever comes at us. If you're not going to bring it to us, then that's your fault, not ours.
Yeah, you only really can play with what's in front of you.
Of course, you can.
In front of you, it's like if it's like Arsenal, for example, with last
Yeah, like
season.
Tony says, Neymar could set serious records for Brazil Olympic diving. And you know what gets on my nerves about it as well? The one I really respect is Messi. You know, like there's times when he could dive and go down, and then he pulls off that amazing assist for Argentina to Alvarez. That was absolutely amazing. And that's the kind of stuff you get when they don't drop on the floor all the time. Look at Collymore when he used to get the ball. You know, he'd just take it round players, then he'd take it round them again, and then he'd score. I mean, he was just phenomenal, mate. Absolutely phenomenal. And every time now, when I'm watching football or watching a World Cup, back in the day, they would say, "Oh, this young lad's really good. This young lad that's coming on now is really good. He's the next big thing." And he'd come on and he'd be doing all the skills and stuff, and you'd be like, "Yeah, man, this guy looks really good." You know, if you see it now and they start waxing lyrical about a player, all he does all game is just dives all the time. Is that what makes you a good player? Is it?
Tell you one name that I always like, younger growing up. That
Well,
I
if a
always
one
just
dives
like.
on Saturday and we win 1-0, I'll be all right with it.
You cheating bastard! You cheating bastard! Oh wait, we could win this game. No, keep doing it. Right. It happens to the best of us. I mean, I won't even bother calling cheats or anything like that. If we lost 1-0 to a dive, I honestly wouldn't care, because the fact is we lost 1-0 to a dive. What were we doing for 89 minutes then? It's like,
oh, this is it. It's same as when people cry about a penalty that you don't get.
yeah.
You know, if the penalty makes a difference, yeah. Like when we was playing Arsenal at Emirates, yeah. That penalty that we didn't get and didn't get checked with Rice, that would have made a difference. But when it comes down to you, like what I've heard United fans saying, when you got beat 2-0 by Tottenham and they're going, "Oh, well, there's a penalty we didn't get." And it's like, you know what? Teams like you shouldn't be relying on penalties.
No.
To win games or to get back into games. You know what I mean?
That's Liverpool's job, that is. The victims of everything.
Oh, they get on my fucking nerves, they do. Not to mention he's injured 75% of the season. He's injured for his new Saudi team. He's injured already. Neymar's actually injured already.
Yeah. The guy's
He's
become
not.
quite
He's not the
injured
kind of player for me, mate. When I used to play back in the day at school, I was full-blooded all the time. If I went in on someone, I was full-blooded. I got sent off, but you know, it is what it is. You know, but that's how I always used to play.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing I like about Messi, or even Cristiano Ronaldo as well. Because I mean, both of those two players have had major injuries in their career. Both of them have. They've come back and they've stayed fit, right? But they've not changed their game based off of their injury. I know Ronaldo is getting to a point where obviously age becomes a factor. You start to slow down, and you have to change your game to adapt and stay at a higher level. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo, guy's practically going on 40 now. He's playing with
a knee injury for a long time, though, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, he's playing with an injured
cracking
knee.
Player, don't get me wrong, but he has been diving a lot.
Yeah, but his body physique is honestly insane. Like, the amount of work the guy does on himself is ridiculous, and it's like, imagine with other players if they have that sort of mentality to really pushing themselves to try and be the best they can possibly be. Imagine how many people or players you'd have that would be significantly better than what they are now. I mean, Lionel Messi is just, the guy's ridiculously talented, but Ronaldo has some talent, but the work ethic is near unrivaled by anybody else on the planet.
I mean, you can't knock him on that. I'm just talking about like the diving. Jamino says, speak of injuries, I hate when certain players have a career-threatening injury. Cost Ireland the spot in the 2018 World Cup. I can't remember that far back, mate. To be honest, might ain't that far back, is it really? But my memory's shit, so I can't remember what I did yesterday. To be fair,
I mean, that's
I just find, you know what? I just find it really annoying. It's like, it's so good when you see a player take everybody on, and score a great goal. And
Mm.
now they just choose to dive instead. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame because you want to see them amazing goals.
It's up with the wingers nowadays. It's like the two best wingers in the world are, arguably Neymar and Messi, and it's like, well, Messi, cool, but the average quality of wingers has dropped off. It's
Mm.
like I can't really name many, if any, world class wingers out there anymore because all they do now is, they don't try and take on the man anymore. They don't
Yeah, what
work
is
in.
that all
They don't
about? What
operate
is that all
tight
about?
spaces. They hold up the play. They turn around and
Mm.
pass it back, or they cut inside and they pass it on.
Yeah,
Like they don't actually work on dribbling. They don't work on
yeah.
dribbling, and that's the thing that really just it grinds my gears. Is that
Oh,
there's
you
so
did
many players.
same here, mate. There's
There's
times when I
so
watch games and I just think, take the man on. Take the
so
man on, and it's just like, nah, just like get near him, let him touch you, and then drop down on your ass. I mean, like Jaminho, I used to respect Ronaldo, but I lost respect for him a few years ago when he punched an Irish player, didn't get sent off, and scored an overtime goal and celebrated in front of the Irish fans. Mate, I can't fault your patriotism or whatever it's called. Patriotism? I don't know. That's probably not even a word. Who knows? I don't know. I'll
patriotism.
check it in the dictionary afterwards. In the
Patriotism is a word.
dictionary. In the dictionary. That's probably not a word either. Anyway, we'll move.
Every word
Seamus
is
Tom
made
had
up.
a leg break Yeti. That's what I'm on about. Okay. I would have watched it, mate. I would have watched it, but I just, certain things I remember, certain things I don't. Most of the things I remember is England go out of every single competition they're in. I always remember them because I know I was like dying and wanting to be crucified every time it happened. I remember one time when we were playing Cameroon and they beat us, and I was young, and my dad said, "Do you want something to eat?" And I went, "No, never eating again."
It's like with the, it's like when you have
No,
to
I
take
know
the,
when you're a kid.
it's like when you have to take the England flags down that you have like draped over the front of your house or something, or those
Mm,
little flags that you stick on your car doors or something.
I wouldn't even
It's
do
like
it now.
the way that we get knocked out of some tournaments. It's like don't take them down, just set them on
Nah,
fire. Just set them on fire.
yeah,
Just get
exactly.
get get yourself a lighter and
I don't. You know what? I don't even get into the thing now. I used to big time, but I've seen us so many times just lay down and let teams take us, and I just can't be doing it. Very few players will try to score that brilliant goal instead of diving. Exactly, and that is, that is to me is what makes quality players. Just do what you do. Do what you're paid for, and entertain the fans. That's the
mm,
thing. The quality of football has taken a massive drop off when it was even 5 years ago. 100%. 100%. 100%. What's he saying here? Thierry Henry, Rice, Grealish, Ronaldo, Kolarov, McShane, Orahan, Hendrick, Brown, Ogun, Long-Eared Yeti, Mate, Jug, Clement, Turpin, Rangers, Ryan, Kent, Marek, Rodak. That list still goes on. Goes on and on. I don't know. I must have took a dive at some point. I don't know if that's what he means. I don't know.
you
But
went from scoring overheads at the City ground to doing Nottingham
Mm.
Forest streams.
Yeah. I looked up proper Irish in the dictionary and saw a picture of Jaminho with a caption: "Bloody hate everyone."
It's your bloody job.
That's
It's,
absolute
it's, your,
facts.
it's, your,
That is.
it's, your, it's your bloody job. It's your bloody job to fucking hit everybody.
He says, "Oh, my bad. Yeah, he didn't mean to include you." I guess it must have been a typo, but that's a major typo to type
Mm.
in long-eared yeti. So yeah.
Even got the
Maybe I am one of
capitals right.
the ones hated. I was put on this planet for one reason. Maybe that's it. I don't know. We'll
Do
see.
you know?
We'll see on Saturday.
Do you know that's one thing that's just come to mind about the whole football dropping off the face of the planet, or the quality of football on average is just dropping off? Is the advert, the Nike advert, the animated Nike advert, right? Where all of these players with their natural abilities all of these unique specialties and all of that
Mm,
get replaced by robots. They
mm,
get replaced by the perfect lot. And it's like, why take the risk? Why take the danger? All of that. It's like that's kind of what's happening to football right now. It's all becoming all you do what one manager says, right down to a
yeah.
T. How you kick a football depends on the manager, not what you've learned and not what you've come to know.
Mm.
So it's not
Oh,
natural to you, it's
to be
natural
quite
to your
honest,
manager.
I don't see the point. I really don't see the point in buying a player because he fits a system and you want him to do a certain thing. If all his career he's done different things, it's
Mm.
waste of time. I mean, you buy a player to fit if he actually does the things that you want him to do when he's on the field. Just makes no don't make any sense to me, and it's too much
Do you
like
know what?
putting players in boxes. It's
Do you
crazy.
know what? That's why I think Sir Alex Ferguson was just so good. Because he was
Mm,
never renowned to being a tactical genius. He just took players and was just like, well, look, you're, you can have charisma, but you have
mm,
talent, and if you have talent, you'll play. And it
yeah,
was
yeah.
the talent you saw from
Mm,
players, and it's like we had some insane games, amazing games. We had some
mm,
awful games. We'll play against a tactical setup, and they'd play us off the park. But
yeah.
then we had other games where the talent was just so good and was
Mm.
just undeniable. They didn't even know what to do. It's like
See,
that's
thing is, I would put people will think I'm mad for this, but I don't care. I would put Clough above Ferguson in that respect because when Clough took over teams, he just took 11 players who was nobodies and did amazing things with them. He did it with Hartlepool, he did it with Derby, and he did it with us because we was nothing until he actually came in. We was just sort of like milling around in mid-table and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as he came in, he just transformed it and he turned like nobody players into something.
I suppose that
So
came. I suppose that probably
Ferguson
came
won
at a
more,
time.
obviously.
I suppose that probably came at a time where
Mm,
criticism wasn't borderline illegal. So it's like if a manager told a player, "Oh well, you're shit."
this is true. This
Usually,
is true.
usually that player responds and goes, "Right, how do I make
Mm,
myself not shit?" And usually the manager would be open-minded to say, "Well, you've got to be better at this. You've got to be better at doing that.
mm,
Go and put the hours in on the training ground and prove me wrong, show me." And usually players would be up to that challenge. Now it's like Ralph
mm,
Rangnick came in, pointed at everyone, said, "Hey, look, you're all shit," and then the players stopped
yeah,
playing.
yeah. Current quality of football is poor, in my opinion. Worst it has been in years. It is, mate. It is 100%. Absolutely 100%. Buying Kai Havertz, playing him in different position than he did throughout the rest of his career. I don't think they know where to play him, Jaminho, to be honest. Like I said the other day, I'd just put him up front because then at least you've still got the amazing Arsenal build up, and the way you guys play when you have the right players in the right positions, like you did last season, you still had a attacker weren't great when Jesus went out, but you got through it. You still got through it. Now, if you've got Havertz in the midfield, that makes a big difference because then you're not able to build because he's there, and then you've got Nketiah up front as well. So you're killing yourself twice, in
Mm.
my opinion.
Well, it's like with
Um,
with Kai Havertz, where I said where he plays in midfield or where you
yeah,
play him
he's
in
spot
midfield,
on, mate.
he goes into an area of the pitch where Erdegaard plays or specialises in. If you've got a player playing on top of Erdegaard, what's Erdegaard meant to do?
Mm,
Like he can't do what Erdegaard wants to do
yeah,
or what he needs
exactly.
to do
Yeah.
to benefit the team. So you
And
hamper
yeah,
your
I suppose
attack.
you're right because if you had Havertz up front, they're not going to be that worried about him, so they're going to be more onto the midfield in that respect. So they're probably going to stem that. But it ain't easy to stem an Arsenal midfield when they're on it. When they're on it and they're passing it about
Mm,
and stuff like that, it's not
yeah.
easy. But yeah, I want to cover this, right? Didn't Clough here end in relegation yet, or am I wrong? It did, mate. And he should never have done that final season for me. Yeah, that was absolutely destroyed him. At the end of the day, I heard, I don't know like how much truth. Well, actually, it's in his autobiography. He was going to sign Stan Collymore, but Stan Collymore had a bit of an attitude, and he didn't think he'd be able to sort of. He would have been able to handle it, but he thought it was going to like mess up the team and everything he got and the dressing room and everything, and that's why he didn't. If he had it done, then maybe things would have been different. But he shouldn't have been on that. Like he shouldn't have seen us get relegated. That was not a nice thing to see when you've done what you've done.
Some people's GOAT managers, end their eras with Premier League titles. Shame.
Yeah, spot on. Absolutely spot on. It would have been great, but you could see every time he came out, you could see he was absolutely just drained. He was completely drained because he knew it was when the era changed and the players changed and the players had more of a say and all that kind of stuff. And I think he struggled with that kind of thing. But you know what? Like Jaminio says there, at least he bought success. And he did. And let's face it, we wouldn't have any bragging rights now if it wasn't for Clough. I mean, not with you guys, because, I mean, you've won more Champions League, European Cups than we have. Yeah. But the thing is, with like other teams, we wouldn't have any bragging rights at all without him. And what he did, you can't knock. It was absolutely phenomenal. He just took 11 players, and every one of them, you listen to every one of them, they all say, I would have ran through a wall for it. That is a manager. I mean, I think it's stupid players as well, because running through a wall, you're going to get injured and they're not ever going to play. So he's a bit daft in that respect. But the concepts there that you've got a manager like that. I mean, ever since like Keane and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they say horrible shit about Alex Ferguson and the way it was.
Yeah.
They don't look at him in like a great light or anything. Yes, they won loads of stuff, but they don't go like, I would have run through a wall for him and all this, that, and the other. I think Keane says he's an idiot or something like that. Or I don't think he said idiot, but he said something. I can't remember what he said, to be honest.
Yeah, I see with the comment with Draminho there, that two elite managers, you wouldn't see that from anyone nowadays. Jurgen Klopp is possible exception. Every other manager buys already excellent players and continue to play good. The thing with Jurgen Klopp is his system's not really tactically genius. It's just insane intensity. It's like what he describes it as, heavy metal football. They're just just intense. Oh, keep going at it. Running ridiculous distance coverage, like high press, constantly running. Literally, it's like a team of Mo Farahs that run at the speed of Usain Bolt. Yeah. Do that for 90 minutes, 38 games in the league, plus the extra games.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of knock it off now. I just seen your message, mate. I didn't see it before. Forest would just be another West Ham or Crystal Palace or Watford or Bristol City if it wasn't for Clough. 100%, mate. 100%. And the fact of the matter is, if he hadn't have fell out with the Derby chairman, and he hadn't have been stubborn with the Derby chairman, it probably would have been Derby that got all the shit, not us, because he was already building something with them. He basically came to us, and then they took most of the players. And it weren't just Clough either, it was Taylor as well. Because Taylor wasn't with him in that relegation season. Taylor wasn't with him in certain seasons, and you could tell as well. Anyway, guys, yes, Derby County are pricks. That is one thing we will 100% agree on. Right, anyway, we're going to call it there. If you want to shout your stuff out, John? Who's John?
Who's John?
Who's John?
I haven't done score predictions.
I'm seeing ghosts again. I need another ghost stories because I'm seeing someone called John. I don't know who that is.
I'll tell you what, my middle name is John, so you probably got that. So you probably.
Hey, ask me for the lottery numbers, mate. I just worked that out. I mean, first I thought it was Felicity, but then I stayed on John. Well, I didn't stay on John. That sounded well gay, but Are Forest and Derby rivals? Yeah, 100%. They are our biggest rivals, but they only got 11 points in the Premier League. And every time someone comes up for the Premier League, the one thing I'm looking at is that they get more points than Derby. I just want them to get more than 11 points. Even if we give them the points to get over 11, I just want that bragging rights. 11 points in a bloody Premier League season. Now watch us go and do it. Fucking hell, you twat. I wish Derby folded when they were in financial problems a few years ago. Yeah, but the thing is, mate, they was looked after. Where there was other teams that did the same thing and went through the same thing, and they was actually and they went, which is wrong. It's out of order. Bang out of order. Why they kept Derby into it and why they helped Derby out yet they didn't help the other teams is disgusting, mate. Disgusting. Get rid of them. Burn the whole fucking town. Right, anyway. On that note, call your stuff out, Felicity.
Well, actually, I'll go give a score prediction first for tomorrow. I
Go
say
on, then.
that will.
It's Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're playing
if
tomorrow as well.
Yeah, true that. Well, we've got Chelsea Luton tomorrow, 8:00 kickoff. That'll be interesting.
Right.
But for me, I'm going to go glass half full. Try and be positive
Right.
about it and just say, look, we'll get 2-1. We're not going to blow anybody away. I think we've not got a midfield quite sorted out for balance yet. I think unless we revert to type and really sort of try and rely on a strong defence, I'll probably see us just a 2-1. It might look if you look at it from the outside perspective, maybe it's a tight, that's a really close game. It might be a bit more sort of favourable United's way, but Forest will have a moment in the game where they get the chances, a bit of pressure, they'll score a goal. But United, again, lots of chances, absolutely not doing anything with them. As to who scores, maybe Rashford.
Yeah.
I'd like to say Rashford will get one, and maybe Bruno Fernandes as well. If we play closer to the goal, better control on midfield, I'd say Bruno Fernandes might get lift off this season.
I'm thinking more. I'm gonna be. I'm a red at the end of the day. So well, you are as well. But I mean that don't matter. I mean I'm a Forest red. I'm gonna go 3-1 to us. A 1 with 2, and then I think Alanga's gonna score as well. Your 1 will be Rashford. That's what I'm going to go with. Tony Ibarra, great show. Yeah, I had my Nestle quick Felicity, John. I've started something now. Now I'm moving on to the cause. You enjoy your beer, man. Right. Anyway, guys, we're going to cut it there. Have you called you? Did you call you?
I haven't called my channel out, no, but HotFuzz44 or at HotFuzz44 OG, you can catch me on YouTube channel. I'll probably be doing not a stream, but an upload, a video upload later on tonight, about say 9:30, 10 o'clock release time, perhaps, and then it'll be back to doing the other preview show with Longhaired Yeti on my channel at about 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And you can also catch me on Instagram at HotFuzz44OG as well, if you want to follow me on there. But we are, I think, 9 subscribers away from 100.
Nice.
We are closing in. We're closing in. We're
Nice
gradually getting there.
Make sure you subscribe. Anybody who watches afterwards and anybody who's in the chat, make sure you subscribe to Felicity44, HotFuzz44. Absolute legend. Ace guy. Great to actually have a chat with him and stuff. I didn't think it was going to go like 1 hour and a half, but it just shows how it goes when you just start talking. Right, guys, we're gonna call it there. So thanks everyone who's been in here. Thanks for people that view afterwards. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we are out if I can find the fucking button. Right.
Oh, you are a bloody disgrace! Hey, Buzz! For missing the target from there, you want bloody shooting! Oh, it's crap. Oh, it's bloody rubbish. It's rubbish.
But how do you react, though, when someone, you know, from your playing staff comes in and says, boss, I think you're doing this wrongly?
Good. Well, I ask him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it, and then we talk about it for 20 minutes, and then we decide I was right.